Alright, because now on the lady, now call Lendig Samba, Lendig Leda, Gu, then Gu Leda, Yomobala, Dinetibu to watch on the Legu dedicate some diet, or do some dajita, the Dipon Kiru, Chehories, Chizada, Dumayu Gu, and then Dipal you were just a divide Pango, it's not on the Tewadi, Gu, and then Gewalet and you were just on the Gewadi, Nyamsolango, or yes, as you can see, you were shared out.
Last week we continued to look at the presentation on karma, with this tonight being our fifth talk on karma. And last week we looked at how all the sufferings of samsara come about in dependence on the contaminated karma that we ourselves have accumulated in dependence on the afflicted minds. And we experience this karma as it ripens in one of the four ways, one of the four ripening results. And seeing then that all suffering comes from the non-virtue that we accumulate, then this is what we need to abandon, particularly the motivating afflicted minds. Moreover, it's the contrary minds, the minds of virtue that we need to accumulate, because these are the minds that lead to the state freed from suffering, the state liberated from suffering.
That is in my
We'll continue now with the presentation on causality.
That's Lam Rim
Right at the bottom of page 25, and there's a quotation from Geshe from his Song of Experience, or the short Lam Rim. I'll read it. On the bottom of page 25 and the top of 26, just slightly change the translation of a few of the final lines in the verse. There is no certainty that after death, low rebirth does not await you, but there is certainty that the three jewels have the power to protect you from it. Therefore, base yourself completely upon refuge, and let not the refuge precepts degenerate. Also, consider the workings of virtuous and non-virtuous karma, practicing correctly what needs to be adopted and what needs to be abandoned, and this is your responsibility.
And then she is, and then she went and then never child of Gomares, and the culture was in she near and yet give what you is. She's not a Giva Lensa della Carriera Sene, and then Androl Giata and the Dendrol Gias, and Nimato Drosa Nimado Yamaris Givalentela. She's a Denizan, Dan Anzolia, and Androli Gigmari, Sempig, Dengse, and Anzola Yomares, or today. She and Andre Miki Dang Matches, and I see in a giggling Jamang Androl, I saw the King Mares and began Anzola Dang City Yomares. She's not Mevan Yomares, she and Andre Miki Dang Matches at this one.
There is no certainty that after death, low rebirth does not await you. In this line, one recalls that one has achieved a precious human rebirth, a basis which is ideal for spiritual development. But this opportunity is finite. Death is certain for all of us. So therefore, the opportunity to spiritually develop that this life presents not only will end, but that it will end is certain. When and how is completely unknown. This needs to be reflected on, coming to see the great uncertainty, or having seen the great value of this opportunity. It's great. We need to see its great uncertainty in terms of its duration and cessation. And thereafter, as is mentioned here, it's not that nothingness awaits us. Rather, when death comes, immediately in the next rebirth, in the next breath, rebirth follows. And rebirth can only be in one of two directions. Either another rebirth in a pleasant realm, such as we've achieved now, or in the realms of immense suffering, those of the three lower realms. But none of us can yet say with certainty that, as the line says, that after death, low rebirth does not await us. None of us can say with certainty that that is not a possibility that awaits us.
Ngandro gig mare sembe tengse di nuba de ngandro gig makie ge nuba de yo mare shere tengse yo mare da bena da lam nyamne gejo kyang lam nyamne che den sozu gila lam gila kie che mi one da jig cholam na jolam ro kie sa wa ne da ngandro gig mare sembe ge da tengse chasan yo da ngandro gig mare ga san mi kie we ge nuba chasan top chare sembe samodi top cha wa inza ngandro gig mare sembe da mi kie ge 땡세디 자산 여바를 책으로
For ordinary practitioners such as ourselves, the mere wish, no matter how strong, not to be born in the lower realms, that aspiration alone lacks the power, the ability to avert lower realm rebirth. This is not the case for all practitioners. Those who have achieved a path, the path of accumulation, and have developed this into the path of preparation, at a particular point on the path of preparation, their spiritual development does have the power, the ability to prevent lower realm rebirth. But that is not where we are yet in terms of our spiritual development.
Andi nashinda ngaro zuine lam gyula ki menaya ngaro zu lunga yisum yeje tumbe surim de gyunu bo soya da an sonru soya da denegi an jimbala soba da sebala soba nyamlen je da dene jamni je jashu som sem gom je sosuge nyamle ya u jigiyo ba ina ya je sosuge da denegi logic da ane 지게 로니스 멤버 대한 무투이제 안 저게 로망비를 내려 무투이제 도시는 계절 접제 냐는 제도고 배나 다 소소라야 다 개와 침발라 나로기 말에 선배게다 땡세 배트맨이야 아직 갈가삼 중으로 와듯이 개와 침만 안로기 말에 선배 가서는 세텔이야 소소 망제 계절 냐냐 접제 냐는 제도 배인자 뭐 되네기다 나로기 말에 선배게다 니벌어서 갈가삼 용고로 와
So it's practitioners who have attained such a state of development that can have certainty that they will not fall into the lower realms. For us, we have no certainty. However, if we make great effort, repeatedly over a sustained period, in developing the minds of ethical restraint, of generosity, patience, joyous perseverance, love and compassion and so forth, and we do so over many years, thereby accumulating vast stores of virtue, transforming the ways of our way of thinking, developing our minds, then whilst we won't have achieved the path of preparation and therefore have attained certainty of not falling into the low realms, we can nevertheless have great confidence that we will again achieve a good rebirth because of our years of spiritual training, repeatedly with great effort, and thereby accumulated huge stores of virtue and purified vast amounts of non-virtue.
안데네게 소소라랑게 계절에 균이부 검진에 냠는 제도도 갑라 아내가 저기 가브리엘이야 지게 내 나자라 도저고 레친 바치 시사데 삼삼리도 갑라야 한 데네게 강아 체도 갑라 소소라랑게 아니 람사 아내야 권초레 대바 라마레 대바디 대바 제치도 제 대바 기투야다 데네 셈제 탐제 동안에 자나 님비게 아니 진니지 기투야 셈제 탐제 산조고방 토바치기 쇼 셈비게 장쇼 셈로지 데니게 삼로지 코르토바 톱제 데니 투고요바나 ane dene ge du shine kanga cheri de ga dene lamsa le kom thu ye na ta nga zo shidu kap le ya samno di kom thu go re dene ge kom thu je shiro ji de kap le ya da u ma shin ye le semje tham ju san yu ko wa tho ba ji gi cho sembe che ju sem ji sam da je dene nga de di nga ne ane u che so ba ina da ge wa chi ma le ya ji ge nga do le ki pa ji go ma le ten do le ki ru re si gu re ji na dene za nga ju ge ke jo ya ne ya no je je kom ba ina an del ya ne ke wa chi ma nga do le ma ye ge da ngala ka zam ro chong thu ya ge dine cha go ro
The reason, amongst the reasons that we can have confidence that if we do apply ourselves with vigor for what remains of this life, that we will attain a good rebirth in our next life and not fall into the lower realms, can be understood through the following illustration. When we know that the time of death is nearing, then independence on our years of intense spiritual development, we will be able to, with relative ease, be able to recall our Lama and the Three Jewels, having strong faith in the ability of the minds of refuge to be able to guide us at this difficult time, and independence on this, generate love and compassion for all sentient beings who are suffering, lost in the realms of samsara. Having generated refuge, love and compassion, we then generate bodhicitta, the commitment to utilize even our own death, to utilize this as a step in our progression towards enlightenment, committing to always strive to be of benefit to others, in particular to become a Buddha for the sake of others. So here one generates minds of great virtue at the time of death. And one can only do this in dependence on great familiarity with these minds of virtue, which has been achieved through years of spiritual training repeatedly over a sustained period. Then, despite all the difficulties that our impending death presents, due to the strong familiarity, this habituation to these minds of virtue, we can generate them in a powerful way. And this means when our final breath of this life ceases, and we take our next breath in a new life, this is unlikely to have been in the lower realms, but rather we'll be progressing towards a rebirth in a pleasant migration.
Ngandola keba ina kariyore la na ngandola keba ne pene nyawa ta ida set keba ne ta dunga pa do me ba kine ane chik tene ya mathar ba do dunga ja ja nyong ba mo do dewa zawa yin ne nya me ba de an dundola keba ina ya dundola ya ane dunga pa do me ba nyong ba de dewa chunse sam ma do chine mang che wala da simjan khashi la de ngor ma do mang dunga pa do me ba nyong cha chi da dene za da nga do dunga le mi do ba za ngandola keba ne dene dunga pa do 우도와 지사다 다 간돌 끼는 디기미는 간돌들 타고 우도 선배게 삼로 지리거와 아 데네 자나 간돌 타고 있나 다 간돌 껴봐도 껴비 누가도 술을 열에 랍나 다 징이버데서 오래 디 권초 디 지켜 권초 숨는 게스 제가다 간돌 껴비 누가도 술을 권초 숨는 열에스 지금 배 권초 숨는 산요 권초 최 권초 기능 권초 어다 권초 숨버 될 열에스니다 디 지켜 권초 숨는 게스
Position that we find ourselves in is that we do not yet have certainty that after death we will not take rebirth in the suffering lower realms. So to cultivate certainty, we need to engage in the required meditations in the correct sequence in order to bring about spiritual transformation. We start by reflecting on the immense suffering that's found in the lower realms, in particular in the hells and the spirit realms, where there's not a moment of respite, where suffering upon suffering is experienced, and suffering to a magnitude in those two realms that is beyond even our comprehension in this life. We can then also reflect on the sufferings in the animal realms, And whilst the situation animals find themselves in is immeasurably better than that of spirits and hell beings, in that some animals can occasionally experience some happiness, largely, almost entirely, their experience too is pervaded by suffering, although not to the intensity of the realms of spirits and hell beings. Yet any rebirth in any of those realms is incomparably worse than anything we have experienced in this life. So we need to reflect on this in order to generate the determination that I could not bear that. This is not a possibility I can allow for myself. I cannot leave that doorway open. And thereby generating this determination, a mind turns, as we see in the second line at the very top of page 26, but there is certainty that the three jewels have power to protect you from it. So having given rise to the determination to ensure we do not fall into the lower realms, we think, so what can I do about this? And here we think, in the second line, we know that the three jewels have the power or the ability to guide us, to cultivate the qualities within us, to attain protection.
다 디닉시에베나 코르에 둥아 타달레 껴베 뉴바데 수요레스나 대양 코르에 둥아 타달레 껴베 뉴바데야 gemne 고주스나 요레스야다 데네 심전 탐지 가서 요모바 심전 탐지 둥아다 자체 야 타베 상기 살로 고야게 뉴바 심전 탐지 둥아다 되게 뉴바데 둥아 다 둥아게 요레다 요모 바차단 제바 요모바 바차단 제바 메바 수에게 뉴바데 수로 요레스나 What
we've had presented in these two lines then is the practices that are shared with a being of initial capacity. So the practices that are in common with or shared with a spiritual aspirant of initial capacity is to generate a strong determination not to fall in the lower realms and thereby to go for guidance to the three jewels, guidance in how to cultivate the causes within oneself, the protection within oneself, so that one doesn't fall into such a suffering state. And the three jewels have the capacity, they have the ability to guide all sentient beings without exception to achieve a state of protection from suffering in the lower realms.
ngandrole kegi ngandrole tagu de dele gebe nyuba de konjosuno yore ese da nganzuge kibu chumegi ane lamji rimbigi yamne jibe kala jamro kegi jamro yuni de shigore kewa chima ngasonle tarde tagu sembigi da ngasole miki tengme dene sang ngason dele de tagu sembe samlo jikje 다 ngaso tele tarana kugina ngaso gebe nyuba suyore ese gebe nyuba de konjosuno yore sebe samlo nibodida de initiate da 기부 중요하게 점로게 규디샤다 다 점로 원내에 가르쳐 와서 대치는 점로 신도电바 당스도 지상 되는 인장 다 코에 동할래 탈고고래서 가서 간송의 동할래 탈고바디 찍체 탈외 뉴바도 건조스로 여바디 찍니체 다 되는 인장 대치 되는 인장 당에 는 가서 가서 오래 건조스나 다 되는 게 뉴바디 건조 이게 마 하는 마솔에 미게와 마솔에 탈여 껴야지 겹녀 건조스 껴그래 셈비기 셈 딩기 이시체야 되죠 다 대체 겹도 신도电바 다서 소소라는 게다 마송의 동안에 다 겹녀 거나 마솔에 껴 먹어야 되래 겹녀 건조스 껴그래 셈 딩기 이시체야 되서 되는 게 이시되는 다 겹러 와서 그러와 기부 중요하게 다 겹러 시그래.
The first two lines here, we're seeing how a practitioner of initial capacity goes for refuge, and this is that having generated great fear for the sufferings of the lower realms and thereby determination to close the possibility of being reborn there in the next life, they turn towards the three jewels, knowing that they have the ability to guide one to develop protection from such a rebirth. And then, in the third line, this is where they go for refuge with determination from the depths of their heart, committing themselves to training in accordance with the teachings, with the Buddha Dharma. This we see in the third line. Therefore, base yourself completely upon refuge. And here, the practitioner, from the very depths of their heart, turns to the three jewels, committing that to follow their guidance, their trainings, because this is the pathway to happiness, pathway freed from suffering, freed from the possibility of falling into the lower realms.
다 코월에 마 레다 녀모 코월에 기가 말씀에 대요 말했어. 지난다 코월에 끼네데 다 미기기 나를 누가 토요 말씀 코월에 깨봐 있는 다다 코에 누가 다냐와 가송에 깨봐도 누가 예 봐지. 근데 밀이 깨봐 있나 타다 밀이 깨봐 누가 빠면 봐 용고도. 지난 레다 녀모 코월에 끼 시제들 누가 봐도 민도 될래 코에 누가 될라 타고도 선배 삼나시다. 되네 데이터 타고도 선배 삼나기. 다 코에 누가 타고 봐나 코에 누가래 gyubi nipa de suri yore san, di nu gyubi nipa kyabne consciously yore sanpe samno nipo di da gibu dingi kyamri kiwi gyushe gore. Chazan di samche dine nga korwe dunga tata lada kyabne consciously gyugore, nga korwe dunga dile kyabne consciously gyugore sanpe kiwi sem dingi la lue keje, ichi jia di gibu dingi kyamro sa che gore.
These three lines whilst these three lines can be read, these three lines can be read in a different way. The words will be the same, but a practitioner of intermediate capacity will read these three lines with a different understanding. They'll read the first line, there is no certainty that after death, low rebirth does not await you. And for them, independent on their prior meditations, they have given rise to a determination not to be born in the lower realms, to close that as a possibility, but they have also recognized that even born in the so-called pleasant migrations of a human or God, happiness cannot be found. Lasting, stable happiness that one desires cannot be found even as a human or a God. And thereby, having recognized that there's no state or situation anywhere in samsara that is worthy of striving for, they have a very powerful determination, a determination to be freed from cyclic existence in its entirety. And that's how they would understand this first line. And they too, as in the second line, would turn towards the three jewels, knowing that they have the power, the ability to protect one from such suffering. They have the power to guide one to develop protection within oneself. And therefore, in the third line, they base themselves completely upon refuge.
심전 탐지오 코르 동안을 차고 시사 심전 탐지오 코르 동안을 심전 탐지오 코르 동안을 차고 시사데 마세 심전 탐지오 코르 동안이 유레니모 바차단 제발 차고도 다디 마단다 탑미노 셈비게 섬나 직시에 다 되네기 코르 동안다 심전 탐지오 코르 동안다 코르 동안의 계지기 유레다 녀모 바차단 제발 gyubi nubada suli yore esne, dati gyabne koncho sumlo yore sambege da ichi nyi che, dati gyun yi ti che, dan dingi la tene, ta na samcha tamche koryo dunga gyu le nyo ma basha dan che bala, ane gyabne koncho sumlo gyogore sambe ichi ti da, gyabne gibo chimbe gyabne che gora da.
A practitioner of greatest capacity, they would read this first line, there's no certainty that after death, low rebirth does not await you. And they would understand this in a similar way to the practitioners of initial and intermediate capacity, but they would relate this, though, to all ordinary sentient beings who find themselves in this same position, that all sentient beings, ordinary sentient beings, for them, there is the possibility that their very next rebirth will be in the lower realms or continue to be in the lower realms. Moreover, that all ordinary sentient beings find themselves trapped in the suffering realms of cyclic existence. And here, they therefore knowing that the causes for this that need to be abandoned are the afflicted minds, together with their seeds, which are what the being of intermediate capacity wants to abandon for themselves, but the being of supreme capacity also wants to eliminate the stains or the imprints of the afflicted minds. And thereby, in the second line, when they turn for refuge, they're knowing that there is certainty that the three jewels have the power to protect one from this. They here are looking for guidance to achieve protection from the afflicted minds, the seeds, and their stains. And this is their motivation, the motivation of a practitioner of greatest capacity, to base themselves completely upon refuge.
먼저 가래 송고래스네 디식숨디기 땅한도 점로 제오그래서 왔다 점로체 땅한 주기 점로디 야고 제오그래서 제상한도 냠네 야고 제발라 땅보 점로 야고 그래서 지단 개와 칼제베네 점로 야고 그래서 제상 점로 세대 가래스네 땅한도 기부 중요기 점로지나 동화도 코르 가서 와서 동화들에 때문에 고주섬 교그래서 이시디 공고야네 야도 이시치네 삼땅 그래서 서로와 안디나 신당 알아서 된다라 다 소소 지부 삼다나데 다 심전 탐지 삼다위나 코위 동화 다 심전 탐지 코위 동화를 차고도 지상 코위 동화 저와 맞아 코위 동화 유교 녀모 바샤다 제발을 차고 델레기비 뉴바도 수요르스 다 때문에 konjusun 이거래 샘베게다 여바인장 알아서 때문에 konju 심전 탐지 코위 동화의 동화 유래 녀모 바샤다 제발 델레 때문에 konjusun 교그래 샘비 이치디 다디 이치디가 교그래 샘비 이치디다 야네 곰치디 이치디 템부슈스로 고샤고다 디산 점로 곰세디 곰고래 지산 다디 템부도 야야라 내는 녀려야 가르삼동으로서는 지산 동안에 샘자 탐지 코르 동안에 탈고도 지산 코르 동안에 탈 코르 동안 유 레녀모 바차다 제발에 탈고도 디방고도 샘비게 삼나게다 디큐비 뉴바디 술을 이렇게 몇 건씩 요래서 디니데 삼다제 되네 모두스네 삼다야 딩 아주기 점로 공고래서 되다 가지 디 삼네 야네 삼다 공고래서 다 심전 탐지 삼다마 토바이나 소소기 코이 두가 삼다마 토바이나 나라 주게다 디데 예 나선을 깨야 돼 타고 델레큐비 뉴바디 건좀 요래 된자 당가 나선을 깨 먹어도 몇 건씩 껴버리 삼베 삼노디 야네 야도 공고래서 다 가지 The
meaning of these three lines is that the basis for a successful practice is refuge. The basis for a successful transformation of our mind is going for refuge. So for ourselves as aspirants to the Bodhisattva paths, the way I'd encourage you to reflect on this is through the sequence that has been presented. So first, reflect on the sufferings of the lower realms, generating a determination that because I could not bear such suffering and the causes to be born there abide on my continuum, I have to attain freedom from such a rebirth. Moreover, all other ordinary beings like myself find themselves in this great danger of when this life ends, which could just be in the very next breath, the breath after that could be in this next life, the life of a lower realm being. So therefore, for all their sake, I need to ensure I no longer accumulate such causes and turn away from and eliminate previously accumulated negative causes. Moreover, turning away only from the lower realms is insufficient, because wherever one is born in samsara, one suffers. And here, then one goes on to the meditation of the being of intermediate capacity, that wherever one is born in samsara, one will suffer. One reflects here on the sufferings of humans and gods, giving rise to the determination to abandon the afflicted minds together with their seeds. But doing so for the sake of all sentient beings, knowing that others are in the same position too. And then we can be ready to take the same meditation into that of the Mahayana, where one commits to abandon the afflicted minds with their seeds and imprints in order to become a Buddha for the sake of others. And so this is how one cultivates one's motivation for going for refuge to the three jewels, knowing that they have the ability to guide us to generate protection within ourselves, guide us to become Buddhas.
Badi Demro Komiadi Sosorangi Samno Semle Nipala Papigi Mevada Mubala the Papa Komiaroa, Deniza, Susimja Tamjigi Dona says Samda to that Deniga Kale Dene Kalehawa and Delia Sosuki Dumba Mena and Sosoragi, that been a Korea Dungatilla Tawuts and be some Taiwa. That Delia, Deniga, some Tamatova, the Delianjik Deva, the Dumbarus Mena, Nkiwachima, Sosorara. Nasong Dumala Tawutus and Delia. That Sosorarang, Nasong Duale, Kiemwadi, Carson, Sosorara, Duanona, Yomor Wada, Chesan Delia Tartap Chewadi Anzuki, Zemblina, Missions Alia, Karchevene, Semja Durasusuna, Sosakanale, set up to Chasanchigor, Dinienzada, Sosorarang, Nasong, Gewachima, Nason, Yonason, the Tawutus and some Tayada, Delia Cubi, Niva de Conjusum, Yore, says Samta, Dinizangi, me, Nanasola. Yemowa the conscious of Joguri, some easy to come here, Tadi, all those telecom to the Sosora and get a samota. But I didn't look at you, so Nubal puppet in the Congo Shagorwa.
In meditation, the purpose is to transform our minds. It's our mind that's engaging in the meditation, it's our mind that's going to directly transform through our meditation. So therefore, we need to approach all meditation topics with self-awareness, with honesty, and with sincerity. When the stages of a meditation are laid out like this, whilst it's okay to proceed through the stages in how it's been presented, ideally one needs to progress with self-awareness, honesty, and sincerity, putting the emphasis where we are on our path, our personal path of spiritual development. So progress through the correct sequence, but being honest about where we are and putting the emphasis at that particular aspect of spiritual transformation. And here it's useful in this meditation, because we need to do it in the first person, thinking of our own experiences, but within that we can include what we observe in the world. For example, we can see that everyone in this world, all ordinary beings in this world, no matter what activities or work they engage in, what their status or position in society is, or what countries they find themselves in, their experiences are pervaded by suffering. As long as they are in samsara, no matter what their position is in society or their personal circumstances, it's pervaded by suffering. And moreover, all of them face the possibility that when death comes, their very next breath could well be in the body of a being in the lower realms. This is a danger that all beings face. This is the way to approach this meditation, first in relation to oneself, and then expand it to what we observe in the world, keeping it personal, keeping it real for what we're experiencing.
나도 점로 공부 그래서 나 점로 공부 잠지 되네 나서는 미겨와데 타그리베스네 아니 대신 가 나서 건조스미 가서 나서는 미겨와 겹타네 간에 제 람나 타크스니 마슈 랍차요 이내 양자치 랍나 힘은 가르스네 다 건조 산지 건조스나 산지 건조디 나서는 타예게 탑람디 띵고래 탑람디 바돼 다 탑람디 띵체 다 저기 탑람 디 탑람 되는 저기 냠는지 고래 가서 보면 냠는지 고래 다 냠는지 봐라 가서 수로 버치기에서 기능 건 중에 가서 냠는지 해야 되는 마신 봐 롭된지 해야 돼 가서야 근데 약고 줘야라 냠는지 로드 수이지 기능 건 중에 고래지 진짜 기능 건 중에 가서 로버치 산지게 람된지 제발 소소 냠는지 될래 기능 건 로버치지 하는 가서 냠는지도 냠는지여도 나가지고 최고조 세대 기용 그래서 레고레스 최고조 세대 지난 최고조 세대 가서를 기를 기용도 되는 것도 가서를 탈거해서 가서를 기모가 자고 그래지 지난 가서를 겹타데 진짜 겹어 가서를 기모가나 다 최고조의 라기를 기 레오도 가서를 겹어야 가서 가서를 기모가 줘 봐라 책으로 봐 지난 가서를 겹어야지 그래 on the Gyatso in the Shesur.
Whilst we've previously looked in some detail at the meditation on refuge, there's certainly no harm in reminding oneself of this because it is so important. It is the basis of all our practices. When we're meditating on refuge, what we are committing to is to follow the guidance that we have received in teachings. Guidance of the Sangha jewel, our companions, our guides in our spiritual development. And their guidance is always to hear teachings, reflect on them and meditate on them repeatedly over a sustained period, because this is the unmistaken method, the unmistaken technique to develop the Dharma jewel within ourselves. This is crucial because it's only through developing the minds of the Buddha Dharma, especially to the extent of where they are the fully qualified Dharma jewel, which will abide within our own continuum, that we attain liberation from suffering, such as suffering in the lower realms. Without developing the Dharma jewel within us, there is no way to gain liberation from suffering.
Dine inza da sangyo jumnen di konjo sumi gyoptan de dine inja sangyo jumnen di ke lamdin na shaba de ngazo nyamlen che ho yorwa dine majebe na ne ngazo bi domalo gyop tugo mara dine inza jeza da jamro gyopuri samgi samba samni digi mare dine inza jamro gi labja labu re sore dine inza 60 da di labja nyamlen di labja nyamba me ba jas jeza konjo sumi jamro gi labja delia pe 저기 이게 무튀제 아니 냠는 지역으로 빼는 셈 까브리 제제 한지 봐 냠제 매봐 샤와 많이 봐그 무튀제 저기 냠는 지역으로 해제래.
Refuge was taught by the founder teacher, the Buddha Shakyamuni. The Buddhas are the Buddha jewel here, so by training in this way, one is emulating the example, striving to become an illustration of the Buddha jewel too. When Buddha Shakyamuni taught refuge, he taught the trainings, the precepts of refuge. And this we see now in the next line. And not let the refuge precepts degenerate. So these two lines perhaps should be read together. Therefore, base yourself completely upon refuge and not let the refuge precepts degenerate. And in brief, these are to apply oneself to what the teachings one has received, repeatedly over a sustained period. In other words, hear, reflect, meditate repeatedly over a sustained period. This and this alone is the way to bring about inner transformation.
류가 있으면 예주디 비추름 송고래서 그렇다. 제가 류가 만조는 가송라 깨와 타고 위에나 깨 먹고나 가송라 깨기 유디가선 디바레스. 디바데 가완디고 와서 가서 류이고네 디바사 나고네 디바 이이고네 디바 류가 있으면 고네 디바사고 그래서 제가 류가 있으면 디바데 빵고 그래서 제가 류가 있으면 디바디 가서 녀바디 dom고 그래서 제가 류가 있으면 예주 dom제 류가 있으면 추름송 예주 dom네 추름송과에 다 예치쇼 디차고 그래서 진짜 류가 있으면 예주 dom네 추름송야디 디기 추름송요도 개와치마 가서라 개 규디 까고 그래 진짜 다 개와치마 대졸 개 규디 두고 그래 진짜 니네자 아주 랍자조 디가르스나 다 냠네지 조디 캡수 드비 겜르게 랍지기 냠네지 조디 류가 있으면 예주 dom베 추름송야 돼.
Whilst a number of refuge precepts were taught, and we need to train in all of them, to summarize them, we need to practice ethical restraint, restraining our physical behavior, restraining our verbal behavior, restraining our mental behavior. The practice of ethical restraint is the summary of all the refuge precepts, all the refuge trainings. And this is because it's through these three doorways of physical, verbal, and mental activity that negative karma is accumulated. So thereby, through restraining these three doorways, we close the door to accumulating the causes that lead to rebirth in the lower realms. Moreover, not only are we ceasing the accumulation of non-virtue, but ethical restraint is a practice of virtue, and thereby we are also accumulating the causes that lead to a good rebirth, which means whilst we are closing the door to rebirth in the lower realms, we're opening the rebirth to rebirth in the pleasant migrations.
Tsurim soya dida lapchigi nyamle jewa di lunga su nyeju dimbi tsurim song go reyase. Da lunga yisu nyeju dimbi tsurim song se di gidi inanga zu samla nangla ya lunga yisu nyogu ne nyeju se di nyeba tsawo yin jigmya sempegi samla di yane yado tanya di di samla yane yado tanya. Ane gesi da nga zogi denigi Gabriel lunga yisu nyogu nyeju nyeba jegi gohabchigi le yongbe ne namsa di mache bache 송토에 대제고에 이게 지금 책으로 배네 저기 배네 심지에 소셜로 지제기 지게 레어도 갑을 오다디 나이 누가 있으면 예바 지메서 비게 송구에 대한 장에 소셜이나 지금 말에 삼지 소셜들 가투야다 안에 주인시에게 나직 고합을지 레어네나 아도 주인시는 지금 말에 선비게 당이 주인시는 비인 주인식메서 상당히 재상의 주인시는 지금 말에 선비게 주인시에 가투야다 디나신 당아도 주인다 참아다 직속다 마자라 소바다 데니 류주고네 소저바 마진바 렘바 노로연체 발라 소바 아니 셈주고네 낙세 뇌셈 록다 데니 삼리 코로도 오다디진 디마레 셈비게 삼당 투고야 돼 가투고야 돼 계치 못 채고 데니 인자 맞은 균니다 류한 예주되면 수름송세야디 게디 이내 소 삼나래야 lunga yusum yuga ni yeju se zao yin jigmya sambege de samna de yane samdang we de song se de samda ya de gyun ma cheba du se na samda de de la samda ya de la no zugi da lunga yusum tsurim song se de skurwa
The way one trains in the ethical restraint of restraining our physical, verbal, and mental activities is to meditate repeatedly on, I will not cause any harm with my physical, verbal, and mental behavior. I will ensure that I restrain myself from acting in such a way. And through engaging in such meditation repeatedly over a sustained period, especially as one will then go to subtler and subtler levels, when the opportunity comes, where one may well previously have engaged in non-virtue, one will not do so. The doorway to such activity will be closed. Sorry. For example, when the opportunity to take life comes, for example, if an insect is really irritating, no matter how irritating it may be, due to having trained one's mind well, one will through restraining one's mind, one will restrain one's behavior and not kill that sentient being. Or if one is speaking with someone, and even if it would make one's life a little bit easier in some way if one were to lie or to use harsh speech or deceive others or gossip, through having trained well in ethics, through having ethically restrained one's way of thinking, one will not verbally communicate in a way that is non-virtuous. And this is the case then for all 10 non-virtues, all non-virtuous deeds in fact. Through engaging in the meditations on ethical restraint repeatedly over a sustained period, it is this way that we guard our mind and we guard our behavior and we protect our refuge precepts.
내 나님도 가르고 세는 아주기 진비 냠는 제대 진비 냠는 다 진비 냠는 제대 당하서 심기 나네 당하서 다 소소기 다 지게 로제다 디니 토안이야 야 권철을 추부 푸기 선바다 제 강아지 심지마 진바 땅이 찌기 선비 로바 찌기 선비 삼로디 야네 야도 다야 디 진비 진비 냠는 제스 진바 디 삼로디 야네 야도 다야 다 소소기 고가브라와 있나 디니게 소소기 로제 고가브라도 소소기 니비 가죠 토안이 아니 소소기 로바 제고야 돼 아니 저거야 차고래 디 냠는 제디다 저기 진비 냠는 제 지난다随便냠는 제야다 디나신다 준주게 냠는지야 안 디나신아 주도 제거래 내 몰람 답이야다 언도시네 제거 되게 계시 못 제거래.
Together, the meditation on ethical restraint. One needs to meditate on generosity, the wish to help. And here, again, we commit to keeping our mind always virtuous, developing a wish to be of benefit to others, to not only not harm them, but to ease their suffering. And reflecting on various ways that we can help them, whether to help them with material resources, to help them with our skills and our abilities and our talents. In whatever way we can help, generate the wish that in accordance with my abilities, I will help them. So just like with ethical restraint, when one trains in a topic of meditation, such as generosity, one is becoming habituated to this way of thinking, weakening the habituation to the contrary way of thinking. And thereby, when one encounters a situation where one can potentially practice, for example, generosity, one will readily seize that opportunity. In the past, one may not even have noticed that this is an opportunity to help. Here, one readily takes this opportunity, and one does so with delight, knowing that now is the opportunity, now I've achieved an opportunity where I can fulfill my aspirations, where I can ease the burden of suffering of others. And similarly, the practices of patience and joyous perseverance and prayer, these three, with the other two of generosity and ethical restraint, all need to be cultivated repeatedly over a sustained period, because it's through developing our habituation that we are transforming our way of thinking, weakening non-virtue, strengthening virtuous ways of thinking.
Sem zechi to some diet, sem namia, give Java Java le, Java, pa number yanches, Shando Masambache, the Gawakan Jawu some Delia, some zechi to some diet, some diet. And Dimase, Anjiganzugi, that indigena, Dibasa, or Dinigina Kawa, Digina Pando, you are a civic, the Nigi Java, Java Yam, Java, now the Sherabin and Charu. The Nigiza, Digi, Tizo, Tangan to Cambridge Labja, so the Danyam and Java.
In addition, as one meditates on these various topics, and one comes to a realization, feels the topic that one's meditating arising in one's mind, then at that point, cease your analysis, abide with the realization. And this serves to develop a mind of concentration. Moreover, it also strengthens our familiarity with the meditation topic that has just arisen within us. And in all those previous meditations, we are engaging, whether it's ethical restraint or generosity, patience, or joyous perseverance. One is analyzing this at the various points. This is non-virtuous. If I engage in this, suffering will follow. This is virtuous. I need to engage in that. These are, when I encounter a particular situation, this is the skillful way to respond that will lead to good results. This is the unskillful way, etc. We're using analysis, investigation. And this activity is an activity of wisdom, and it's cultivating the causes for our wisdom to grow and expand. So this, in brief, is the refuge trainings or the refuge precepts that we need to keep.
Jimba Suru Suba Jundala Suba Yamche, Chisan Tisun Yamche, Udu, Sempiki Delia, Giada. And the Simjan and Duma that Tana Simpi Nijomia. That Simjan and Duma that travel, Duma that dear, Duma you, Leonomo Basha, Najapa, Traku, Semche, and the Negedus, then a travel to Sempitana, Sempicomia. The Neanza Simja Tamjiki, Dandalia, Sanjigo, Tomasho, Sempicha, Semcomia. This Shazan and Zuki Cambric Lapcha, 당아질에 돌아두나 점주기 랍제 딩아 주기 당아질에 도수 냠네 제바나 먼저 점주 랍제에서 어디서 남는 두시오 오래지로.
And moreover, in the context of aspirants for the Mahayana paths, we should also include here meditations on love and compassion. Because all sentient beings are the same as us, as wanting to experience only happiness and yearning to be freed of pain, freed of suffering and misery. So here we generate the strong wish. All mother sentient beings who show me such kindness, may they experience only happiness and cultivate the causes of that happiness. Those causes being ethical restraint, generosity, patience, joyous perseverance. May all sentient beings cultivate these. Moreover, may all sentient beings fulfill their desired wish of being freed of pain and suffering. And we generate compassion for them, generating the wish, may they no longer may they abandon all the causes that lead to suffering. In other words, the contaminated karma that is accumulated under the influence of the afflicted minds. We generate the aspiration, may all sentient beings see such activity and engage in the purification and elimination of the afflictions together with their seeds and imprints. And we commit to engaging in the cultivation of the causes of happiness and the elimination of the causes that will lead to suffering, and commit to doing so to the point of perfection where we become a Buddha. We become a Buddha so that we can be the most skilled of guides, a guide who can help others achieve a similar state too. And in this way, we generate bodhicitta. So all of these practices here are encompassed within the trainings or the precepts of refuge.
Zanda jamdru labja labdi jamdru labja labdi jamdru zakasne japten boba sanje jumnen di sonshaba de labja so di sonshaba de ngazuge digi tubege tablam da dunga se tablam ma ngazule den shaba de di nyamnen jangdor chegure se 세상 되는 인자 돌도나 상이 좀된 되게 손셰 비기 최려 퇴바제 삼바제 되네 퇴야네 연도 퇴바다 퇴비 된들 야네 연도 삼다야 다 삼다제 매번이 되긴 될야 되는 제치도 곰잡죠 곰잡죠 곰줍체 와야다 누스진다 가실에 겸줄 납쳐서야지 차산 제반 되는 시고로 봐다
Everything that has been presented here was taught by the teacher of refuge, Buddha Shakyamuni, the Buddha jewel. And this is what we are to practice. This is the refuge precepts or the refuge trainings. And how do we do this? How do we follow this advice? How do we fulfill our refuge precepts? We need to hear teachings, reflect on them, meditate on them, repeatedly over a sustained period. We need to hear teachings that we already have some familiarity with repeatedly over a sustained period, as well as teachings that are new to us. We need to hear those repeatedly over a sustained period. And while hearing on them, reflect on them, meditate on them. And it's through this combination, as we've heard here, of both analytical meditation and placement meditation, based on knowledge, that we will start to bring about a radical transformation of our way of thinking, a radical transformation of our minds. And this is how we fulfill our refuge precepts.
마체바제 어디 지게 진비기 추진 마송아 아니 진비 냠면 마체와 안데제라 나 자주심 공부에서 나 돈유 냠는 지기 돈유 공부에서 왜나 나 저기 되니 제바이나 나 자주심 양다바 야고지 공 신경지다 돈이 야고 공 신경지 고네라 야고 공부인다 인일이야 집어 추진 수비 냠는 지는 이거래 림바신데 용을마도 되네요 말아 되니게 냠는 마체바 돈이 냠는 제다 저주심 냠는 제도 요야 가보래. 되네 자다가 저기 다 소소라데 갑도 연구로와 땅아 돈유 공부에서 해야지 민디 돈유 공부에서 소소라라는 게 되네게 지게 뭐바라제 삼다 진바다 주름디게 냠는 마체 낭매샤 낭매 땅 오다가 자주심 공부 잠재 공부에서 되네 삼다 공부에 납제 소소한 디 공부에 도도제는 진바다 주름지게 냠는 맞아 봐이나 대디 용어치 뭐라고 그래. 가르스네 디 진바 주름 냠는 맞아 봐. 전주sem나 돈이 냠네 야고시 용투 말에. 제가 야고 용투에 날매 진바다 냠는 지루 거를 봐. 제가 디니 용투 말. 디니 현사 다 디니기 삽섭지어가 되게 좀 잘 거를 봐.
Here, a key point to make is that it's when one hears teachings on both bodhicitta and how to meditate on emptiness, or the topic of emptiness, one hears that these teachings and these topics are supremely precious, are of great importance. They are supreme trainings to engage in. So here the point to guard yourself against is to think that if these are the supreme practices, the cultivation of bodhicitta and the wisdom realizing emptiness, then those other ones, such as ethical restraint, generosity, these are clearly not as important. They are never presented as supreme, unlike bodhicitta and the wisdom realizing emptiness is. Therefore, I will focus on what is supreme, and I will put aside those other practices. Those who make such a decision are making a grave error. And this is because, whilst realizations of bodhicitta and wisdom realizing emptiness are supreme, there is not a single practitioner who has attained that realization without prior extensive training in ethical restraint, generosity, and so forth, and not just extensive training, but realizing them. It's only with such a basis that one can successfully train in bodhicitta and the wisdom realizing emptiness. So this is a crucial point, because if one abandons the prerequisites or doesn't pay sufficient attention to the prerequisites, then the latter realizations of wisdom realizing emptiness and bodhicitta will not be cultivated. So again, one needs to be honest with oneself. One needs to be sincere with oneself and train in the correct sequence.
다 되네 인자 되네기 아니 가실에 먼저 추름이 냠는 맞에 반에 깨와치말 하다 미고마 되게 규디사고 말에 지메 냠는 맞에 바이나 깨와치마 저기 최 냠는 제발에 튕겨야 튕긴디 사고 말 규사고 말에 세베 냠는 맞에 바이나 깨와치마 저기 온보 창와다 아니 류 아니 대화 영향에 참위기 규디사고 말에 전주게 냠는 맞에나 마음반항도 개화체할 두바 쪼게디 용투고 말에 세상 되네 인자 나随便 좀뭐 쓰려져 다 몰람데 보래 되네 인자 당하는 저기 대선 냠는 맞제 당가 돈이 공부에 섬제 되네게 삼다 돈이 제 돈용문에 좀 검투고 말 되네 공관디게다 공부에 섬베네 세상 되네 삼다면은 대선 마사바에네 되네 가서 저기 직삼로 땅지 검제기스 되어베네 유마사바네 개화치만 아니 주름마소바나 되네 인계와치망아서 예르에 양아치 모여로와 근데 진배념의 제메나 인계와치마 튕긴게 갈래 가봐 차거와 제가 되네 인자 나눠줄이야 기치쇼디 가르르에선다 나눠줄이야 그다음에 진배념는 돈에 주름념는 진배념는 녀마야고 제 살간디게다 뭐네 람야 토불이 hindi게 고조 돈이다 저유심 검루게나 녀마고 니버를 차선에 주린다 진배념네 튼차바인자 이거 뒤로 봐. 당 알아서 줘볼라 가르고 그래서는 당보 알아서 영화의 순지도 예제도 추림송에 예침보래. 네 추림송. 되네 진배념네 지야다. 네 예침보래. 쇠배념네 지야 예침보래. 다 준리념네 지야다. 된 몰람 대비하다 예침보래. 다네 냠는 집에 네 강어야 당 알아서 저게 삼댕이 냠는 지야. 셰럽이 검자다 즉 장주심 냠는 지야다. 된 돈이 고 삼다외나 되는 야고래 맞아 대수균 위대 냠는 맞아바지 돈이 공부에서 하다 전시심 공부에서 나신이 공부에서 되는 제대로나 대수 제마디게 냠는 맞아바이나 되는 대수 따다 야고지 대두고 제상도 개 침부고 냠는 마스는 고 림바 바람 줘라 바코라 제 바람 따다 줘 얼마도 바람도 맞아바이나 되는 이 오마디게 파샤제 얘기 제대 약효를 네 고고에서 냠는 nhập 투에 가고 싶으로 와 어디 잔nhập 투 말와 어디는 인잔 아니 가지고 되네게 제가 되어서 개 침부 주차고래
if one doesn't engage in the cultivation of ethical restraint, the practice of ethical restraint, in other words, if one doesn't meditate on ethical restraint, restraining one's mind from going in the direction of the afflictions, and thereby one's physical and verbal behavior will do so, one will not be creating the causes that will lead to one attaining a rebirth in a pleasant migration, rebirth as a human or God. Moreover, if one doesn't cultivate the mind of generosity, one is not creating the causes to have favorable circumstances in one's future rebirth, wherever that is. Circumstances that are essential so that one is able to have the time and the opportunity to practice Dharma effectively. And if one doesn't practice patience, meditate on patience, and thereby practice, which is practicing patience, then one is going to not be creating the causes for our future lives, to have harmonious relationships with others, and our sense faculties to be complete, which means our ability to hear teachings, to meditate, to understand the teachings, to read text, and so forth. And if we don't cultivate joyous perseverance in our meditation, we don't practice joyous perseverance in this life, we are not going to be naturally inclined to virtue. We're not going to be naturally virtuous people seeking out virtue, wanting to be ethical in our future lives. And these four practices then need to be rounded off with prayers as well. So if one doesn't engage in these practices, but concentrates or puts one's energy into, say, meditating on emptiness, which one is not going to realize without having created these prior causes, then when death comes, without having accumulated the causes for good rebirths, one is not going to achieve a desired rebirth, a rebirth that is required for one to be able to meditate on emptiness. So therefore, the primary practice we all need to engage in is that of ethical restraint. And then in addition to this, one engages in the practices of generosity, patience, joyous perseverance, and prayer. These four with prayer. This is essential. It's indispensable. In addition to this, one can, and it's certainly my hope that one does, engage in concentration, cultivation of the wisdom realizing emptiness, love, compassion, and bodhicitta. But these practices, these trainings of concentration, wisdom, love, compassion, bodhicitta, are in addition to those other practices of ethical restraint, generosity, joyous perseverance, and patience. They are not in place of, or at the expense of. So this sequence that is presented in the Lam Rim tradition, the Lam Rim being the graduated stages to enlightenment, this sequence or these stages are definite. And they are definite because through practicing in this definite sequence, one will definitely attain one's desired realizations. So this is a key point to emphasize here.
Denya karna lede lesam de karna lede lesam de langshin langdor tsushin jula rale so was chesati jamre labja di deji penanga de chutumi nyamle se ade yakbu yona da jimbe nyamle yakbu yona sebe nyamle yakbu yona de desugi yudebo le samdang go le jere ga da karna ge lede lesam de se de karna kabosna gewi le se 나보서는 나고리 게미기를 해서 나 디수기 되고들 삼당고래서 다 가라 삼당고래서는 안쪽에다 두스당고로와 근데 류가 예수님이 예주기 제바도 류가 예수님 거네 내가 제바는 디바레스 지난디 디바 인상 다 류가 예수님 거네 샬라 내바치는 디바레 디 제부디 안에 가는 것은 개와치면 아선을 깨야다 안 디기 동화 봐도 매번 용고야다 도심고래스 제가 되니기 나선을기 아니 간성이 나선래 탈지지만 밀지 깨와이나 대노 디수기 제부 동안용 대원용 거야 찾고래 제가 되니기 디빌레스야디 류가 류유권에 사시비 준 참아 지도 나자세다 안 소주가 마진바 로임세다 나섬 예스 록다스 디수께바는 미켜와래 지난 디수게 제부도 수수 연구레스 지난 디니게 강아 연구레스 디 유다 규티버 삼다 디 제부 둥아디 디 연구레스 삼다 나 되네 둥아도 먹어야 안 가르레스 내가도 다 룽아 이숨 예제도 추름송 와 있나 디 개와레스 지난 룽아 이숨 예제도 추름송 어디 근데 가려 와서네 디기 개와 치마라 나선을 개와 까제 덴돌을 하다 미고 봐 끼고 그랬어 지난 하다 미고 봐데 기용도 덴델이야 아니 지금 직디기다 아니 제 디기 용야 되는 용거래 지난 디네서 가나 레데스 추림기 미거 룽아 예제기 예제 미거와 삼다 디제고 동아 용다디게 삼다 다 추림송위게 추림디게 삼다 디제고 아니 개와 치마 하다 미고야 토야나 디기 용다 두 삼당 고래제 제가 가나 레제 삼당 고래제
This is then a summarized way to think of the refuge precepts. Then looking at going back to the verse, also consider the workings of virtuous and non-virtuous karma, practicing correctly what is to be adopted and what is to be abandoned is your responsibility. Here on the very next line then, the point is made that in order to practice the refuge precepts, one has to reflect on karma, or the English translation, actions. The Tibetan here is actually literally cause and effect. And that is what is what we need to think of. Because it's through reflecting on cause and effect, or on karma, that one will engage in these trainings, in fulfilling our refuge precepts. It's through reflecting that if I'm not ethical and I engage in activities that are non-ethical, physical, verbal, my ways of thinking, these all create causes that will result in suffering. And this suffering, if it ripens as a propelling karma, as we saw last week, it will definitely lead to rebirth in the lower realms. It's the only place you can propel a rebirth, into the lower realms. But if I should be fortunate enough to achieve a rebirth in the pleasant migration, still, these non-virtuous deeds, when they ripen, they will ripen in a myriad experiences of suffering, even though I'm in a pleasant migration. Therefore, I have to turn away from anything that's non-virtuous, any unethical behavior. So it's here we can see that it's through considering the working of virtuous and non-virtuous karma that we think about the suffering that will befall us in this and future lives through being, for example, unethical. And also, when you reflect more deeply, through us experiencing suffering, indirectly others suffer too. Our spiritual progression is hindered. And we thereby are limited in our ability to be of benefit to others. Moreover, when we're suffering, we are unlikely to be of benefit to others anyway. We are likely to take out our negativities on others. So therefore, it's thinking like this, through the lens of causality, that we will turn away from non-virtue, and we will embrace all that is virtuous.
Bendigo lede samda na surim suwa na sosuge dochi de lada mi ko wa thoya di de la di yu ya de lada mi ko wa thoya na an di thole ya sosuge ngeje chuba ina den de ya chu thuye ko ga yo ba shan la phang do che ga na phang do che ni ba yo ba Bendigo ya bo du samje je bo de la ya bo yen de thoya du samda na di na shin jimba jimbe nyam le jimbe nyam le shan shan tangin se tegin se bige samlo de jimba tong se ba jimba wa di do cho de sena wa de sena shan de tegi me esme sena de jisan sena zamda na ando shine ta sena se di mi ge wa re jisan sena che ba inda da di ge che bu kar yong go sne ge wa che ma ta le ka sa ma ju ge la mi le ge ba ina da du do le ge ba na ka wa ge na pe sa ya don yo gong bu long ju gong ba gang a shi wu li go la jisan long ju ge gang a yo ba ina Then say no draw about that Denigi, that Chikanga Dunga Bato Meba Yongo Chagore, Chisan Dundrola Idadi Denigi, Sanigi Chagorua, Chisa Diniza, Dangazuki Dundrola Kiana, Miliki and Tachi Ida Kavana. That's Sana Chavan is DJ with the Deniki, Deniza Delia and the Benjo Ponte, Ganga Shuti Gore Sibiki, that Denigis, Tibuti Samta, Deniza Ranzuki, that Ronju Ganga Tele, Tagu, Dele Tarje, Sosoralia. Jikuagi, Tunji, Yakuch Kuores, Diniza Danjugi, Jimba, Tongi, Semba, Sambaina, Sosugi, Tongi, Semba, Jimba, Yamin, Chebaina, Digi, Tongi, Tangin, Sembe, Samoti, Jango, the Kimjan Garrison, and Anzugi, Yena, just Roboje to go, Marmilje to go, Marva, Casa Sosana, Harangu, Sena Digi, Sosugi, Jinjin, Sosugi, Roboje to a new Yanash and a Titu, Jigoma, Pishitango, Marva. Santa Tongi. Tangi Sampishano, Rojigi, Sampe Samno Jobana, Di Samno Digi, so she could twinge the Nuber Jona Shana Roche to Gorva, Shane Roche Tubna, the Chibatangorva. Just like the Niza, the Nigi Chambaina, that said Delaina, so Sugi Shana Roche Shangi Duma, say to Yakama, say to Ya, the Shana Pembertu to Ya, the Yabudu, the Enza, the Di Devo, that Yawachima some Damine, and also Surarang, Milikavana Kawaki. Delia Soso Kuegi, Twinking Tibe, Sambuya, or Chagores. Just a Dineza, Twinking to Nagama, Roto, Gangada, the Nigi Kabe, Dunga, Yomoagi, and the Chick Ganga, the Sigores, Dineza, Jibinim, the Yapudu, and the Nigi that Jimba, Senachevaina, Ditego, Dunga, and the Chicken Kesa Dinesh, Dunga Pato, Yomoya. Jimbinim, Jevaina, Jimba, Samla, Jimbayana, Sosuki, Jimba Shana, down to Bana, Ditego, Sosola, Seteli Nada. Michele Panto Tuba, and Jawachima Sosola Tungi Yabu. Just a Tungi Yabuyana, Miliki, Sosugi, Benju, Tungi Yabu Mena, and Church by go up some of the Yabana Church being two mothers. Just a dinner is also Tungi Yabuana, Shana, Robert J. Sosugi Church, Yamla Tungi Yawachatu, Sambe, Denigi, some dash in them, and it so do some down water.
Reflection then on ethical restraint needs to be done through the lens of causality, reflecting on if one is not ethical, what are the causes that one accumulates and what results will follow. Likewise, if one is ethical, what are the causes that one is accumulating and what results will follow. What are the impacts of those results on ourselves in this and future lives, and the impact on others in this and future lives. And this way of thinking we apply to the other meditation topics, such as generosity. So the opposite of generosity is miserliness. To the extent that one is generous, one will not be miserly. To the extent that one is miserly, one's generosity will be correspondingly weak. So here we think about, to the extent that miserliness is dominant within myself, to that extent I will create non-virtue. And when I act under the influence of this non-virtuous mind of miserliness, I'm creating the causes that should, if it ripen as a propelling karma, will lead to rebirth, most probably in the spirit realms. And it's beings in the spirit, many beings within the class of spirits suffer tremendously under the effect of miserliness. In that, or suffer the ripening effect of miserliness, in that they struggle to sustain themselves. They experience tremendous sufferings of hunger, thirst, heat and cold, and so forth. Moreover, though, one reflects that even if one is born as a human, if previously accumulated causes of miserliness ripen as an experience, and are experienced as a human, one is impoverished. One's endeavors to turn around one's situation, to gain material certainty, material comfort, is always unsuccessful. And thereby, one's entire life is spent trying merely to survive, and thereby one does not have the opportunity to engage in Dharma practice, and one's spiritual progression is prevented. So in this way, again, we think about the mind of mindfulness in terms of the causes it creates and the results that will follow, the impact that it has on ourselves and others in this and in future lives. And we apply that same thinking then to the contrary mind of generosity. That the meaning of generosity is that one is cultivating the wish to benefit others, the wish to give of oneself to others, through either sharing what we have materially, or sharing our skills, our talents, our abilities with others, developing the wish to utilize whatever we have to ease the burden of suffering of others. And to the extent that we develop this mind of generosity, the mind of miserliness weakens, and in addition to this, we are, through the strength of our mind of generosity, we'll be aware when opportunities to benefit others present themselves. We will see these opportunities and take them. Whereas someone whose mind is dominated by miserliness will not even be aware of those opportunities. Whereas we will see them and we will, with joy, take them. And here then we reflect on the benefits that come to ourselves and others in this and future lives. So this then is how one meditates on the second practice of generosity through the lens of causality, thinking about cause and the effects that will come, the impact on oneself and others in this and future lives.
Söba magomba ina di docho del da söba magomna na jugi khona la ya da shen la chisu sheba da damara yungwa chisan söbe ki magomba ina di docho ki di debo de la ana magomba na so obo ma sawa ki ya ana so jugi pe nyuba meje ke mishana chasangi tongjon shesa tongjon pe ne semje ina da mi tongjon da tongyo de ne pe semje de magawa che chasangi magawa che mi ne magawa cha da mi sui ne na ma ro che ane 소수기 네 원고 마사와다 소수기 제기 되니기 엠베네 제 수부이네 듯이 도 미두부 네 야구메디어라다 아니 미수이도네 아니 지기 마가와체사 되네데 수가 먹은 비티고 되는지 모르겠어야다 다 되네 용배나 아니 소수 강아요로와다 심지 두르기나 강아요래 미질리게와나 가서 밀리게와나 되니시나 강아요를 할래게나 강아요를 수차상 마가와체 안체 소소 통조다 소소 엄마사와 냠다로 여베나 다 강아요로 와체사 되니사 디스베 먹으면 되고래 되니고래 다 세바 콤바이나 세바디 게와래 세바 콤비기 디보 가려용으로서네 아니 게와치 말이야 소소기 아니 지금 원바 창와 아니 소소기 류도다 덴바 뉴바유에 아니 미수이 통하나 just 가보지야다 되니고래 제사 되니사 세베 콤비 세베 콤비 되고래 지나다 되니기 대부 용바 있나 소소라라라 미수이 통하나 가오지다 소소 원바 창와다 진시변 소수기 최념는 제발에 아니 야고치 두고래 다 원부마 창와다 암조마도 인기시마도 미마송라 원부마 창와는 소소기 주주에 강아지고래 현로 로체발에 강아지고래 지상 소소 기부 매바마시 로체발 판도 계절 두고 말해 디네자 세베티고 있나 디네가 원부 창와다 디네게 아니 지금 미군기 소소 거부치야다 디네 요바는 소소기 최제 고급래 원부 창와 좀 튀게 차대 제외 되게 先来偏不主办呢，偏不主对，米下上说个我讲呢，说个先来，若不这边呢，若接推啊的，俺就牙就蓝队这边呢，蓝队来年的，我说，其实今天上，俺也会木头，是不是？今天个来就跟这上当我的些的，那今天都接不起的，今天跟这过了，今天上今天用到，这部今天上今天用到，这接不起呢，但来年个那米个接不起吧，是我接来，第二户的，第二户都不来下。 이 제오고도 이 지기 민도스네 야도 그 야와치기 거래서 대디 셰럽 기제마 차고래 셰럽 기념는 차로 거다 돈도 거 모소만 셰럽 기념는 말하는 이 셰럽 기제바치 당한도 돈이도 비 셰럽 기념는 많이나 지단기 안쪽에 랭이기 남의 집에 셰럽 기념는 차고래
And so too with the meditation on patience, one looks at this through the aspect, or looks through the lens of causality, thinking about causes and results, the impact on ourselves and others, lifetime to lifetime. So the opposite mind to patience will be a mind such as anger, frustration, annoyance. It's quite an array that are the opposite to anger. So here we can reflect on the faults of those, as well as the benefits of patience and the faults that come from not being patient. So when one, through cultivating patience, one not only prevents oneself from engaging in non-virtue, but one is accumulating patience. So the essence or the entity of patience is a mind that is undisturbed in the face of adversity. So therefore, whatever adverse circumstance one encounters, one's mind stays undisturbed. In other words, unafflicted. In other words, virtuous. This is the practice of patience. And through being patient in the face of adversity, whether that adversity is from others or our own inner turmoil or in our Dharma practice, with the mind being undisturbed, we are creating virtuous causes. And those causes will ripen in future lives through us having complete sense faculties, meaning we can hear teachings, we can read teachings, our intelligence is sharp so we can understand the teachings. So we don't have a mental impediment preventing us from understanding teachings. That's better. And here the aspect of being harmonious with others, getting on with others, is of particular importance. Because if someone who's not patient, who's easily enraged, or someone who's regularly frustrated and annoyed, they are not going to get on well with others in their future lives, which means they are going to have disharmonious relationships. Their mind will therefore often be stirred up by conflict with others. And this is contrary to Dharma practice. This is contrary to having favorable circumstances to practice Dharma, because they are constantly upset by their relationships with others. Moreover, whomever they meet just naturally don't like them. They struggle to get on with others. Others struggle to get on with them. And where this is so important for those who aspire to the path of the Mahayana, is it's very difficult, if one hasn't created the causes of patience, to be able to positively influence others. Our practices of ethical restraint and generosity will thereby be weakened by a lack of practice of patience. So this is how we think about the practice of patience through the lens of causality, thinking about the causes that we accumulate through practicing patience and the causes that we accumulate through not practicing patience, and the causes, how they'll ripen, what those effects are, and the impact that has on ourselves and others in this and future lives. And this process here then leads us to thinking about not just here in patience, but also generosity and ethics, what practices we need to adopt, what we need to abandon, what we need to engage in, what minds we need to cultivate, what minds we need to abandon, turn away from. This is a process of wisdom. It's analysis, it's investigation, and this is wisdom. So this thinking of analysis and investigation is cultivating our capacity of wisdom. Not explicitly the wisdom that will realize emptiness, but nevertheless the wisdom that is of the class that will enable us to eventually realize emptiness. So this is the benefit of analytical meditation on all topics, whether it's patience, generosity, ethical restraint, or other.
and Chushi, Givishi, and Lama, and Jeji, Chushi, and go bear, or Yahu Chushas. That in the end, so surrounding a Mahon by night, the Niki Yagi, that the Gudiki, Sagi, Samje, Yawanga Cheba, the Yahu Chushas, Jisu Iran Comiata, said that the day in a Mahon by night, the Yagi, Gudi, that in Yahu Chigin Sembe, those in the lake in some Tankories, the Niki Samtan and the Landro Chujin Jubla, Ralex, said, just like the name Samtan Jiran to get Dipaya down, the Shigida, Dipati Payaje, Paya down. The Nigi and gave Chawa Jewa to get some Yahudu Summit, other Dijiva Jedi, Yahudi Samedi, the Suchasan, Yamlan Chedis. Then I down Trishin to City, Trishin to Sadi, the Chikorim, the Machuba, the Manoa, Antic, the Antic Carsforim. Trishin to City down, the Nigo, Korim Machuba down, and then Lamigi, that's it, danger, so young, Yawachima, Yanjigi. Sosugi, Soso Jirahagi, Tantagi, some Matavache, Dushin, and Mano, Machubache, and they are Kasuri, Hudapatache, and Mutunichi over the Kichimores. Deni Jebaina, Deni Del Rale Paris, Denigi Ledig and Namja Samta, Denigi Yamlendi, Palandu Tsushin Jebaina, Gemdi Lapjedi, Yamlendi Yapuchi Gores, Lapjedi Yapuchi Gores. She's not Denigi Ledig, Samata, Langdor the Yapu, some Damatuana. Lavadina Gemdre Labjadi, Yamle Jigu Labnamana, Yamle Yawachi to go Mares. She's not in Yamle Yawoyudes. Dene Yawoyona, Dinanjugi, Gemdre Labjadi, Manjugi, Titu watches a Gemdre Labja, Yamle Yawu, Yonala, Karnaga, Lady Samyata, Di Yamlelia, Lalenta, Susan, Lalenta, yes. Dene Lalenta Vaina, Dene Gemdre Labja, Yamle Yawachi to go, Ezida.
Here in the meditation, then, one can reflect that we have achieved a human rebirth. Not just any human rebirth, but a precious human rebirth. And moreover, in this meditation, we have accumulated the causes to achieve further human rebirths in our future lives. Moreover, in this life, we have favorable circumstances to practice the Dharma. This we ourselves achieved. We ourselves achieved the causes for this, and now we're experiencing the results. And even in this teaching, through you hearing about the topic of generosity and thinking, reflecting on it as you're hearing the teaching, you are creating the causes for favorable circumstances in future lives too. Similarly, in the past we have practiced patience well, and our mind has remained undisturbed in the face of adversity, and therefore our sense faculties are complete, and we can understand the teachings, we can hear them, we can read texts and so forth, and we generally have harmonious relations with others, we get on with them. Here we rejoice in what we've done in our past lives, we rejoice in all the good that we are experiencing in this life, and we rejoice in the virtue that we are accumulating now. And in dependence on this rejoicing and this delight that we generate, we commit, knowing the results that will follow from these causes, we commit to accumulating ever more, and doing so repeatedly over a sustained period. And this is how we cultivate the fourth cause, that of joyous perseverance, where we delight in what we have done in the past and the results we are experiencing now. We delight what we are doing now and the results that we will experience in the future, and thereby commit to doing ever more. This then serves to give great strength of mind to us, strengthening our commitment to endeavor and make ever more efforts in the cultivation of these minds of virtue. And then lastly, we conclude the practice with making prayers that in each and every future life, may we meet our Mahayana spiritual teachers at a young age, recognize them as such, and under their care, request and receive many teachings, and train hard in fulfilling those teachings. Because this is, in brief, how to practice the refuge precepts perfectly, to hear the teachings from our spiritual teacher, to reflect on them, meditate on them repeatedly over a sustained period. We make prayers and aspirations to engage in that throughout what remains of this life, as well as in all future lives. And And this brings us then to the final line in this verse from Je Rinpoche. Practicing correctly what should be adopted and what should be abandoned is your responsibility, your own responsibility. So the key word here, because what should be adopted and abandoned is referring back to the previous line, where the virtuous and non-virtuous karma. So the virtuous karma is what we need to cultivate in our minds, the virtuous ways of thinking, and the non-virtuous ways, the afflicted minds, are what are to be abandoned. And this needs to be practiced correctly, and this word correctly then, or unmistakenly, means practicing in accordance with the sequence of trainings as has been presented. And I mentioned that earlier, that the sequence of trainings is presented in a specific way, because this is an unmistaken method that will lead to realizations. So therefore, this is the unmistaken method that we need to practice correctly, or practice, train our minds in, develop experience of ourselves. And doing so is our own responsibility. This verse, or it's really two verses here that are quoted from Je Rinpoche's Song of Spiritual Experience. And each couplet of verses ends with two lines which aren't quoted here, but the two lines that it would end with is, I, a yogi, trained in this way. You, who desire freedom, should do likewise. So here, with this conclusion to these two verses, Je Rinpoche is exhorting his students, train just like I did. This is the unmistaken method of all the Buddhas and all the Bodhisattvas. And I have trained in this unmistaken method, and I have experienced these results. You who desire to give rise to freedom, you who desire to be freed of pain and suffering, should train just like I have in this complete and unmistaken method of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So that is my heartfelt wish, that all of you train in this way and apply yourselves with vigor. So to conclude here tonight, what we've looked at today is to meditate on cause and effect effectively. Start by generating refuge. And the refuge trainings or the refuge precepts are in brief what we've spoken about here. Meditating on ethical restraint, generosity, patience, joyous perseverance, and in addition, prayer, as well as perhaps concentration and wisdom, but in particular those first four with prayer. And doing so repeatedly over a sustained period is fulfilling one's refuge precepts, which are to hear and reflect and meditate on the teachings that one receives from one's spiritual teacher repeatedly over a sustained period. So we'll conclude here for tonight, and next week we'll continue here in the text, which comes to presenting let's see where it is here, the eight qualities conducive to cultivating virtue. So that's where we'll start next week on page 26. So thank you very much.